Okay, so what are we doing today? We are gonna take a look at a game I played on the ladder, and it's a quite amazing game where we are gonna see the power of the most beloved unit, the Strider. So let's get me out of the way, and then we are going to hop straight into the game against our mystery Grell opponent. So first up, we spawn at the bottom right side. And in this game, I think I'm opening double harvester. Yeah, actually, it might just be one harvester, cause yeah, I'm starting the game off by going bastions, and after going bastions, we then can like expand and slowly get into our striders. And with the striders, yeah, it's important to take the correct expansions, and the one that I'm taking in this game first is definitely the wrong expansion. I was supposed to take the one, if you're looking at the minimap, this expansion for sure, since it covers this tower way better. And the Strider is very mobile, but it's also a slow unit. So you want to have your expansions like more at locations where you are going to fight, which in this case, of course, would be the middle tower. I like where my worker is staying at the moment. He's blocking any sort of proxy base by just standing here and being, I think, on hold position. Yeah, so this is how the early game can start. I'm going triple barracks. Interesting, didn't remember that. I thought I would go double, but sure. Also, we are playing Prefect Nova, who is an amazing duelist, which means I don't have to fear anything, and I can already look for damage I can do. And in this game, I find these two stingers. I miss my attack, my stun, so yeah, I sadly don't get them. Here I'm deciding to recall just because there might be some proxy shenanigans going on, and I don't want that to happen. I also don't want him to start like the base, so I get my Prefect Nova back, and with the barracks he will be able to always defend and win the fight next to the barracks against the Grell hero. Anyway, because we started with the one harvester, I think we are still... No, we are on two harvesters actually, so I made the second one, and that means we can now get our bastion production going and also start upgrades for the bastions. Yeah, and then just contest some towers, do some normal stuff, run our harvester away from the stingers, use the heal ability, and then get a tower and get aggressive around the rich flux with our bastions. So here he's kind of run-buying to my barracks, which I'm not that concerned about at the moment, because the harvester and denying the rich flux is more important. Also, he's attacking the base, which is okay, I can just cancel and remake it. And then, yeah, recall. I got the harvester, which is huge. Yeah, and the bastions, of course, win against the stingers, and then we just remake the expansion. Sure, it gets delayed, but we also got the harvester, which means we kind of killed our opponent's expansion, or at least delayed it.
Not enough supply.
Anyway, we are of course now starting to again fight for middle control, fight for the towers, and even trying to be super aggressive. This is a very bad turret. I should have not placed it there. I was scared because there were like quite a lot of stingers, but now like the turret is just gonna be there and do nothing. Oh, interesting. Here my opponent, who is a mystery Grell, who knows who this opponent might be, tried to put down the tower and it got cancelled because I guess my harvester moved on top of it. And yeah, so there's no cultivator building, which is quite good. And yeah, we are getting surrounded by some stingers, but no worries, we can just recall out, and the bastions. Maybe I didn't even have to recall out, seeing this again, but yeah, I'm just at this point having my expansion up. I think my Grell opponent might have theirs too, but I'm also starting to tech into the second bastion upgrade and getting closer to Strider production, so I feel like I can be more passive, because tech-wise I should be in a good spot, and I think I might even have an advantage because we killed the Harvester earlier. And yeah, as we can see here, I mess up the combo. I should have dashed in first and then used the stun, but the way I did it is like I threw the stun and then figured, well, I can just dash because it's going to be protected anyway by the stun, so no worries. And then we start fighting for this Rich Flux, and this one's great. Like the turret is great that I put down here because of course it's actually at a point of interest, and our upgraded bastions also are starting to win fights quite decisively against the stingers, which yeah, that's great, right? So we get this second upgrade now, and of course we can keep microing our harvesters away, and now we also kind of have map control since we have just the stronger units, so we fork off 2 bastions to the top control tower and we fight some stingers there. I might need to recall these, but I figured like, it was an okay trade, so I didn't. And I like wanted to preserve some energy. Recalling still probably would have been better, but we got 2 stingers, of which 1 I think was infused, so overall it's okay. Yeah, now the upgrade is also starting, and I'm starting to float a little bit of Rich Flux, so now I'm taking an expansion, and I also don't like the expansion that I'm taking right now. I should have taken the one that I tried to take first, but then I decided to take the one on the right, which is just a bad expansion to take. Because, yeah, again, we are going for Striders. Striders are mobile but slow, so we want to take the middle bases and not the ones like as far away from any objectives or towers or opponent's bases that you can take. So with my upgraded bastions, I'm somewhat confident that I can win this fight, so I'm like taking it, and then I realize, okay, the upgrade just finishes, so that was like the perfect anti-timing. I should have not gone for that fight at that point. Yeah, and here I'm not. I think I might have tried to use the stun, but it just wouldn't cast, and then I cancelled it with an attack move. So yeah, things like this happen. But I'm also on 3 base, and I think I figured that I need some sort of front line at this point, just because my like that is why I was looking at the mercenaries, because yeah, the bastions just fall off against the harbingers. I think it's because of some harbinger defense upgrade. Anyway, this fight looks good, so I'm trying to take it, but my Grell opponent rightfully decides to back off and let me have this tower. Nice dodge on the deadly vines. And yeah, just keep developing, and now I can start the Strider production in just a moment. Interesting, I get the upgrade, the special research tech lab first, so I can upgrade these Striders before actually having them, or just like when they pop, they are already upgraded. And as we can see, we were right before assuming that we would win the fight, because we just were allowed to take it and we won quite decisively. So yeah, that was nice. And here I'm just recalling because, again, we just took the fight, we won. So that's like, also I'm on 3 base and a Grell opponent did not take any of those 2 bases, so I figured, sure, I can go back, wait for my Striders to spawn. Also, not only because, like, maybe I have the bigger army here, but I just want to make the Strider, so I go back so that I have enough time to actually get them. And yeah, here we are microing one of our harvesters away. Just move it to the top side to yeah, have his army, or like my opponent's army, being somewhat busy, having to run around the map, and I try to deal damage on the other side with mine, but didn't work out that way. But we still wasted time and my opponent was not able to actually deal a bunch of damage. Alright. Yeah, you might notice that the build, of course, is not as optimized.
Building complete.
Because, yeah, I was just not... like, I didn't have an optimized Strider build. I was kind of, like, winging it on the fly, so... It's still okay. And here I'm starting to upgrade the commandos. I hope I switch to the other upgrade. Unfortunately, I don't. Yeah, but that's still fine. So the bastions, as we noticed earlier, they just don't do as well against the harbingers. They are great against the stingers, but against the harbingers, usually the commandos do a little bit better inside of the Strider. That is why I'm upgrading the commandos right now, and yeah, I will start adding them to the army and hopefully just keep my bunkered bastions inside of the Strider alive, so I don't have to remake those and will always be safe against the stingers. And here we also added the front line that I was talking about earlier in the Rageborn. Yeah, and now I'm just taking more of the map, just macroing up and filling up my Strider. Also at this point, the harvester at 12 o'clock, you might have noticed I looked up when it walked there. It's pretty sweet when you have harvesters that are like mining your opponent's flux locations, because your opponent's harvesters just won't go there anymore. And even if they do, I'm not sure how exactly it works, but at the end of the day, they avoid mining at that location, so they come closer to you. And your opponent like might not notice that their flux is blocked. Yeah, and that can give you an advantage. Like, for example, this harvester on the right, that one's probably mining there because my harvester is blocking the other spot. Okay, now we get to the juicier part of the game. The top right base I'm taking here, and that is like the correct base at this point to take for sure, since the Strider is such a mobile unit combined with the recall. So I can always take like this very far away base from like my opponent. And when they go and attack it, I just recall a bunch of Striders if I want to defend it. And that way they are like, yeah, it will be defended even though it's so far away. So it's a great base to take. Okay, so here we see Striders fighting like a Grell army of harbingers and everything, and since there are a lot of bastions in them, yeah, they are not doing so well against the heavy armored harbingers, and that is why the commandos switch is called for. And of course, also the disruptor will come in later. I'm trying to get them exclusively through reinforcements. And yeah, that will come in handy later in the game. And why are commandos also better against the Harbinger inside of the Strider? Because you can like much easier just walk away. So here we see my opponent attacking the top side, and this is what I'm talking about. Just recall your Striders there, and boom, you get like, what is this? 120 supply straight to the base, and that's just awesome. Also, we can micro our Striders just by recalling them. Like, of course, they will go to the closest base, and the units inside can fire, which makes them just amazing defensively. So after we won that fight, I assume I'm gonna like march right in here and try to deal damage again. Yeah. Also, I'm adding the Artemis just so my Striders... I took the wrong upgrade again. It's better to have the random reinforcement Merc. Because the idea, of course, when going Strider is not to lose units. Since you can recall the damaged Strider and then you just don't lose anything. So having the top bar talent that gives you energy when you lose units is not really that great. Because you're just not supposed to lose any units. Anyway, the Artemis healing aura, of course, is great with the Strider, doubling their regeneration, and yeah, that lets us like easily charge in here, deal a lot of damage, and then when our opponent shows up with their army, we can just again like use our recall and get out. But like I assume that I win the fight, and then I just don't, so I lose a Strider here that I should have recalled.
Not enough supply.
But I recalled the rest of the army, so I'm like still at full supply, and I just took a great fight taking out one of the expansions of my opponent.
Enemy sighted.
And yeah, that like went quite well, right? Which is also one of the powers of the Strider as the infantry top off unit. You yeah, you just get to be very mobile and like movement recall efficient with your army. Right, I noticed that I just have a bunch of money, so I press on select worker, and unfortunately I get the topside worker, so I just built my like a bunch of production facilities here, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna recall there to defend, but I don't have enough energy, which is quite sad. So I have to walk all the way up and of course lose the expansion, but it's fine, because when you're maxed out, of course, you just throw down an expansion everywhere, and yeah, I finally take ones that are closer to the towers, which is nice. And we hit our airstrike, which of course is Protectorate's like loveliest top bar talent that they have. Yeah, and so we just use our Artemis here to scout our opponent's army, harass the Reaver's attack-based energy, of course, with the MP, and then like try to fight them with our Striders. So I talked about the commander upgrade that I sadly took. Also pretty nice. Our opponent here has, what is this? 3 infused Reavers? Isn't that a beauty? And we trade like, I think, 2 Striders and a bunch of infantry units for a good chunk of our opponent's army. So yeah, I'm quite happy with this trade. And now I'm getting the Chakru healers that also synergize very well with the Strider, even though like you won't see me using them as efficiently this game, because I'm just bad at it, I think, because the hotkey is hard for me to reach. And oh, I also actually just got Rageborn, which is fine too, because, well, it's just building frontline, right? And here my opponent is attacking the top side again, but since I took the bottom two bases as well, I don't really care, because I know I'm on more base than my opponent, so I just use my Striders to walk straight to their base. Yeah, because, like, of course, if I use like 1/4 or 1/6 of my bases and my opponent loses 1/4, then that is way better for me. Also, their recall is... That's actually not more expensive, but I think it's still on cooldown here, that is why. Yeah, I just get to take out 2 bases and then use my recall to get out. Yeah, but again, I don't have enough energy, so unfortunately I lose my Rageborn, I think, like, all but one. But I can fly out the Artemis. That's also interesting. Yeah, the game seems to prioritize ground units with the recall over flying units. Just something to that I like just noticed. And yeah, then we just go for the fight again. And here we can see our opponent added a lot of stingers, and since we still have some bastions, I think I'm doing fine here. What's also nice is that, well, actually there are a good bit of, like, a good amount of lashers. So I was gonna say that the anti-air is not there for my opponent, so my Artemis are doing great, but there is kind of enough. I start to focus it down though, and yeah, so it was still not really enough. It was just like good enough to have a fight, but not enough to actually kill my air units, which gives me the advantage here, and I can chase down this Reaver. And I want to touch on the commander upgrade for the Strider build. You want to take the damage stacking one, not the range, of course, because the units can attack like against Grell for sure. Oh, and here we see the GG from Nocchio, and we beat him with Striders on the ladder. Isn't that nice? One thing I wanted to touch on, yeah, is the Disruptor. Like, you want Disruptor and Strider, because both units, of course, can move while shooting, so they just naturally work well together. Yeah, and that is my Strider game that I wanted to share. It has a lot of infused Reavers too, so I hope you had fun watching it and maybe learned something about expanding and saw that the Strider is an amazing unit with the recall. It's very flexible, it does a lot of cool things, and yeah, let's see how it develops in the future. So if you like the content, subscribe to the channel, and I hope I'll see you around. Bye bye!